Do you like fighters or spacecraft design? Grab your copy of the first Spacedock reference book all about these topics on our Patreon through the link in the description and pinned comment below. Hello everybody and welcome back to Spacedock. I'm Hojoanna and today we are covering a Legends version of the E-Wing ahead of its live-action canon debut in the Ahsoka TV show. We're also trying out a bit of a twist on the standard breakdown formula, so hit up the comments and let us know what you think of it. The E7 E-Wing first appeared in Dark Empire, one of the many comics and novels that continued the story after Return of the Jedi. And I have a bit of a confession to make here. I didn't read any of this content back then. The only thing vaguely like this that I read was a comic graphic novel thing that was set between two of the original movies, I can't remember which ones, and the only thing I can actually recall from it was some Star Destroyers dropping out of hyperspace and splatting on the Executor's shields. I'd love to know what this was from, and I know that you know, so let me know what you know. Part of what Dark Empire covered was the rise of the New Republic, and the E-Wing was the very first fighter designed during this period by Freytech, a company formed by ex-Incom members who developed the illustrious X-Wing. The E-Wing was meant to match or exceed the performance of its well-known and adored predecessor as its replacement. It ended up being very similar in design, though it only had two aerodynamic foils on its flanks, and they were both completely static. This reduced costs and complexity and provided a stable mounting point for a pair of large Freytech J8LF Fusible thrust engines. These gave the E-Wing enough speed and maneuverability to counter TIE interceptors, and it could even rival the A-Wing in straight-line speed. Also on board was the standard equipment you'd expect: sensors in the nose cone, a Class 2 hyperdrive, or Class 1 depending on source, and a small cargo bay for up to 100 kilograms of cargo, and consumables for up to a week, unless someone else eats it before the pilot can. One of the more special things about the E-Wing was that it was designed alongside the R7 astromech droid. These droids were highly sophisticated and expensive iterations of the classic R2 and R5 astromechs, and were required on board E-Wings to manage their complex systems. At least they got an enclosed and protected space to work within. Later versions of the E-Wing were made compatible with other astromech models, leading to the requirement for an R7 being relaxed. Each fighter was armed with a trio of fire-linked Diamondback IX-9 laser cannons, with two mounted on the wingtips and one directly over the canopy. The version seen briefly in the Ahsoka trailer seems to be missing the canopy one, as it is the one in an upcoming LEGO set, and really this new version just looks so much better. The Legends version had three though, and they were extremely powerful weapons, to the point where some sources classify them as heavy lasers rather than medium ones. They were so powerful they even ran into issues on early models, as the synthetically spin-sealed Tibanna gas that was used as a laser source tended to break down, drastically reducing the weapon's range. A temporary solution to this was found during the World Devastator assault on Mon Calamari by sending 3 times as much power through the weapon. This corrected the problem at the risk of a dangerous internal overload. On the belly of the craft was a pair of proton torpedo launchers which carried up to 16 torpedoes. E-Wings were introduced by the New Republic during Grand Admiral Thrawn's campaign to rebuild the Empire, so bringing it back to canon during the same time period works out nicely. In Legends, it was intended as an escort fighter to protect shipping convoys, and frankly that just sounds like the same sort of thing as the Defiant being an escort. Due to the issues with the laser cannons when it was first deployed, along with general issues with the R7 astromechs and the complexity of the fighter, many pilots stuck with their X-Wings. The craft continued to be iterated on over many years, eventually maturing into an excellent starfighter, though it never truly replaced the X-Wing. Instead, it saw service during the Yuzhong-Vong War with elite squadrons who could best make use of them, leaving cheaper XJ X-Wings for general use. This high-low mix is a real-world concept with questionable origins, but it's nice to see this sort of thing integrated into sci-fi. So the E-Wing never replaced the X-Wing in universe, and it never really had a chance at achieving that in the real world either. The X-Wing was just far too iconic, but the E-Wing did provide an interesting alternative for the same role. You can support Spacedock by joining our Patreon, where you can get our Spacefighter design reference book. Alternatively, you can support us directly through YouTube by giving us super thanks or by becoming a channel member. Thanks to our supporters, and thank you for watching.